Hey Hofstra fans, welcome inside the WB Mason Coaches Report right here on GoHofstra.com. Connor Giblin now with the head coach of Hofstra Pride men's basketball, Joe Mihalich. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. It's always good to be with you, Connor.
Oh, always good to be with you, Coach. I hope you had a nice Thanksgiving as well.
Well, we traveled that day, got back late, but I was able to have a real nice dinner with my wife, so that makes it a good Thanksgiving.
Good Thanksgiving week for your team as well. On the court, you go 3-1 in the Gulf Coast Showcase. Seems like your defense got a little better as that tournament went on. What did you see from that unit that maybe you didn't see earlier?
Well, not to be a wise guy, but it had to get better. I mean, it was so bad, it had to get better. So we did take a step forward, I think, defensively. You know, it was a good week for us. It wasn't a great week. You know, a great week would have been 4-0. But it was a good week for us. I think we got better on the floor. I think we learned a lot about our team and what we have to do to be a good team. And I think we'll find out this week. We've got a tough week coming up, but we'll find out this week if that's how you really measure if the previous week was a good week, by what happens the following week.
Again, a couple of milestones from Brian Bernardi. He's now third all-time in Hofstra career three-pointers, got his 1,000th point as well. What's it like to see that guy come from such a storied program in SMU with Larry Brown and now to even succeed with your program?
Yeah, you just can't be just so happy for Brian. We all know this. He just has a work ethic that's second to none, and it's great to be for him to get some personal things happen. He's like all of us, though. I think he'd trade that accolade. He would trade that for being 4-0 instead of 3-1. But I'm just so happy for him. He works so hard, and the best part of it is he's still got a lot more good things happening for him.
Roquez Johnson, of course, has 25 rebounds against South Dakota. Seems like the rebounding is getting better with him. What about the offensive side? Is there any more that you want to see from him in that area?
No, was it 25 or 26?
I keep hearing it was 25, but
Okay.
It was 26 to start.
26 to start, okay. So either way, that's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
I think he's getting better offensively. He works so hard and he's so intense that maybe he just needs to mentally slow it down a little bit when he has the ball. There's an expression in basketball: be quick but don't hurry. And I think those two things are happening at the same time for him. He's hurrying a little bit as opposed to just taking a deep breath, mentally slowing it down, and then being quick but not hurrying his moves.
Couple of guys coming off the bench doing very well. Justin Wright-Foreman seems to be getting better and better as the season rolls on. DeAndre Bowie was another name that you keep mentioning is providing a spark. Maybe he's not getting it done offensively, but what other areas is he getting it done?
Well, his numbers don't show what he's doing, but I think he kind of brings some energy to the team. He kind of energizes the team, especially defensively. We have 5 good halves down there in Florida, but we had one really bad one in the first half against Vermont. But the second half against Vermont, that might have been the turning point for us defensively. We had a good win against Bradley in the first game, but we did give up 90 points. We beat them 92-90. The second night, we were really bad defensively the first half against Vermont. Cost us the game. But I think the next 3 halves, the second half against Vermont, the 2 halves against South Dakota, we were good defensively. And I feel like DeJure kind of energizes us when he comes onto the floor.
The other point guard, Doron Powers, really getting it done on the scoring end. Of course, had that game-winning bucket against Bradley. Obviously, his role was to kind of not essentially replace Wanye Green, but try and provide for the lack of production. Do you find that Powers is doing that?
Well, it is his role to replace Wanye Green, and I think we all got to kind of accept that. And there is life after Wanye Green. As great as he was, one of the best ever. But somebody's got to be the next point guard, and Doron can handle that. He's a 5th-year senior. He's a mature guy. He's been there. He's played against Kentucky in the NCAA tournament, so he's got some good basketball miles on his basketball tires. And I thought he had a real good week last week, Doron. I think Doron is, if any one person took a giant step forward into getting more comfortable in the role that he has to have for us to win, I think it was Doron.
Now coming up in December, just a couple of days away, you go into the harder portion of your non-conference schedule. St. Bonaventure, Kentucky, obviously, Siena, a team that beat you guys last year. But first off, against Columbia, new head coach, what are you seeing in them?
Yeah, those first 3 schools you mentioned, I know it'll get here before you know it, but they're the last thing in the water in our minds right now. There's only one team we're thinking about. I know that sounds like coach talk, but it's the fact. I mean, if we were thinking about anybody else, then we won't win. We won't even have a chance to win. So we play Columbia Tuesday night. They can really score. Very, very good coach in Jim Engels. He's new to Columbia, but he's not new to coaching. I mean, he really knows what he's doing. it'll be a real challenge for us. They scored 48 points in the first half against Quinnipiac at Quinnipiac. I think Quinnipiac's a pretty good defensive team, so they made them look silly. So, we're going to have to do a good job at the defensive end.
Head coach of Hofstra Pride men's basketball, Joe Mihalich. Coach, thanks for joining me.
Connor, thanks for having me.
And this has been the WB Mason Coaches Report right here on GoHofstra.com. Thanks for tuning in.